The Mayans had an incredibly bloody history. Warfare permeated their society from the highest king to the lowest soldier. Kings and the nobility were not only expected to take part in battle, their battles were the most important.
This was a warrior king because in one hand he holds the scepter, in the other hand he holds a shield. And as you can see, this hand is a little bit longer than this hand, which makes me think that his bones were shattered or he was crippled in that arm. And when they found the bones of Yaxcochmo, they actually found that he has something called a parry injury, which is an injury sustained when one puts a shield up to block something and it's hit. So this was a king who was involved in the warfare and the founding of Copan.
The standard warrior was outfitted with a shield, spear, or club, and a long-range soldier would use a bow or a blowgun. On this Bonampak stele we see a traditional Mayan warrior. In his left hand he holds a flexible shield, which he could use to block a spear point or a club. He's dressed in traditional battle garments, and in his right hand he holds a spear. And on the spear point is a figure of one of the gods of the underworld, which signifies death. The goal of warfare was to take captives. This served a dual purpose. First, they would sacrifice them as offering to their gods, and second, it would elevate the social status of the soldier. A noble was judged on his ability to defeat his enemies in combat.
Sort of a propaganda is also sort of a freezing time into one place. And this is where he will be. He will be doing his ceremony. This is the main access. Secondary lords will be in the other sections.
We traveled to Quirigua to learn the story of Cactlu Chan Yopat, who betrayed his ruler 18 Rabbit and used religion to justify his rebellion.
He did this to say that he traveled to the past in the underworld to get his mission. And one of his mission was to betray his king, Cactlu.
A king built his legacy by preserving his victories in a carved stele.
Right here. This is a side view of him. You can see the jaguar right here, which is a symbol of power. And so we think that this is a monument to that king's power.
Warfare was relatively unchanged until the influence of Teotihuacan. The Teotihuacanos brought new types of armor and new types of weapons.
The main thing Teotihuacan brought to the Petén region was the atatl. Up until that point, warfare had mainly been about clubbing to stun your enemies so you could sacrifice them as captives. But what the atatl allowed was long-range warfare. A soldier could take out an enemy 50 or 60 yards away, and you could destroy an entire army without ever really going to hand-to-hand combat. So now, since entire armies could be destroyed, the focus of warfare shifted from captive-taking to territory-taking. And this allowed giant cities like Tikkal to expand and reach their golden age.
Tikkal created a big army and used it to conquer. One of the first victims of Tikkal to be conquered with these new weapons was a place 23 kilometers to the north, Washaktun.
Tikkal conquered Washaktun, and Tikkal conquered the other smaller sites around, and Tikkal started to grow. But then Tikkal one day had a big enemy, or found a big enemy. That is in the north, and that is that place called Calakmul. And also Calakmul had some alliances with Yaxchilan. They came and they defeated the giant. Tikkal was conquered finally, but a branch of the royal family, they run away to the southwest, and they built one statue they called Dos Pilas. And the kings, the Mayas, it took them like more than 100 years for that little branch of the family to reestablish their power again, but they did mainly matrimonial alliance. They used their daughters and their sisters, to marry kings from different sites, and they grew up again.
The nobles used these matrimonial alliances to build a large army, which they could use to retake the throne from Calakmul. In 681 AD, the greatest king of Tikkal, Jasa Chan Kawil, led the army against Calakmul and defeated them. He re-established his bloodline, and under the rule of his son, Yakin Chan Kawil, Tikkal became the greatest empire in the Mayan region.
success was not to last. Infighting among the nobles eventually destroyed their city.
Tikkal and those pillars were founded by brothers. The two brothers that were fighting for power. One of them was able to take main office to become the king of Tikkal, but the other one, which lost the power, together with his followers, moved away. He founded Dos Pilas, and instead of being an allied city for Tikkal, his brother, then he looked for another supporter, another protector, which by then was Calakmul, the rival kingdom for Tikkal.
In 629 AD, Dos Pilas split from Tikkal and founded Agua Teca. Agua Teca was a military base that relentlessly attacked the surrounding territories. It was able to do this without being destroyed because of its natural defenses. It was built atop a mountain so that attackers would be forced to fight uphill, and the river behind it completed its defensive walls. Eventually, Agua Teca was destroyed. The rival cities banded together, they burned the palaces of the nobles, and its inhabitants fled the city.
The empires of Tikkal, Palenque, and Calakmul battled frequently towards the end. Quirigua betrayed Tikkal and attempted to gain their independence with the support of Calakmul. With Calakmul's help, Quirigua killed the ruler of Copan.
There is a little axe here, which means decapitation of, look at these numbers, 5, 5, 5, 15, 16, 17, 18 rabbits.
Quirigua got their independence, and Calakmul weakened the Tikkal Empire. However, Calakmul was later defeated at the hands of Tikkal. Tikkal then finished the Calakmul Empire by defeating the last great city, Dos Pilas. Its inhabitants abandoned the area and left behind the monuments we see today.